Oh, hey, didn't see you there. New Tool Tuesday in the office. Welcome to the office. We're gonna do New Tool Tuesday. We got some cool computer stuff. So recently we got Mike and Kevin on board with 2 new guys that needed 2 new computers. So we actually reached out to NZXT and got their pre-built computers that they have online, Pro Starter PCs. So these are pretty good systems. They have a really cool graphics card. They have a nice processor, solid state hard drive. And originally they had 16 gigs of RAM, but we actually upped both of these up to 32. Some new monitors, keyboards. Everybody set up with the 3D connection space mouses. We have over here my setup, this NZXT setup, which is a little stronger than those two. Has a stronger processor, 64 gigs of RAM instead of 32. And same solid state hard drive. This one has a P4000 video card. I think those are on the GTX card. So I know some of the guys were talking about my monitor setup. I do have a horizontal and a vertical. Most of the times the vertical is just for like files and web searching and music. And then I just use one main display for all of my CAD and programming when Kevin's not helping me out with that. So we have the Raptor 4-link short course setup with our fuel cell and integrated sway bar. And we've already actually manufactured the short course links, the sway bar arms, the cradle, Kibbetech fuel cell. This is actually a 4-link. You can see the mounts here. The upper links aren't illustrated right here, but it does cycle. And what we're gonna be doing is, this is the 2nd gen setup. We're actually retrofitting all that setup to a 1st gen. Look who just rolled up. What's up, Brian?
What's up, Matt?
I was handling things over here.
Toasty Tuesdays with our boy Matt.
That's right. We already have this setup already scienced out, and we have a customer coming in with a Gen 1. So we're gonna retrofit this whole setup to Gen 1 frame, make some fabricated frame rails that will accept this whole setup. That will allow us to use our current fuel cell setup and sway bars and all that stuff. So have actually Mike working on it right now. What's up, Mike? Basically, that's the same setup that I was showing you on the other computer. You can see he's working on getting those frame rails tweaked a little bit. So the Gen 1 Raptors actually have tapered frame rails. They're kind of a pain to work with, so changing the frame rails is gonna make life a lot easier as far as getting that set up in there and packaged right. We also are able to take advantage of the larger fuel cell because we don't have to work in the smaller parameters. And while we're over here, we might as well talk to Kevin. So Kevin is our new programmer. I don't know if he's been introduced or not. Introduce yourself, Kevin.
Kevin, what's up?
So Kevin is experienced with the 5-axis machining, the 3-axis and lathe machining. So he's gonna be handling a lot more machining. That way I could use my time for other projects. We have a bunch of other projects that we are working on that we can't actually discuss right now, but probably in about a month or 2, we'll actually be showing those projects off. There's a bunch that are pretty awesome. He's gonna be our programmer for now, hopefully for a long time, right, Kevin?
Yep.
Yeah, so he likes it, right?
Yeah.
Say you like it.
I like it.
So yeah, he's actually using Fusion 360, and there's a simulation going on right now showing the tool paths. He's had a little swarf command going on there. This is some parts for TRX. So if you have a TRX, these are going to be sway bar end links that are going to replace the factory ones. These will be billet. And so we have sway bar end links coming up for the front of the trucks. We have coilover spacers that will actually help level the truck out. Obviously, we already have the rear links. We have the upper arm. So you can actually get the full package, get everything set up on your TRX. It'll look really nice. So this is Kevin, and yeah, he's doing a lot of the new stuff on the machines.
That ain't going nowhere. You have to smack it and say it's not going anywhere. All right, so we got the black truck loaded up on the brand new Vimetal trailer. The owner had this trailer built just for this truck. So a reason why we have it on the trailer is it's going to interior. I'm not sure how long they will have it for. Hopefully get it done pretty soon because I'm excited to get this thing out and testing. Once it leaves interior, we're gonna, on the way back, hit the dyno, come back here for a couple little final assembly things and the console and stuff like that, and then this thing's done. Got it all hooked up to my truck, brand new straps, everything's good to go. Next time you see this thing, it'll be done. Back here on Dan's truck, you see we got the rear wall all 100% done. So we mocked up the seat in there, got it tabbed. The rear tabs where we wanted them so we could get this tube welded in, and then that dictated how we could build the rest of the back wall. So here we got another pocket access panel to get to the shock, to go with the outside one. So the shock bolt is pretty much right in there. So it'll be nice and easy to get to those. Got a mock-up drive shaft in here just so we could figure out our next course of action here for the floor tubes. So we're gonna do a straight tube across here and then tie in some tubes to that. Kind of similar to the other trucks. Exhaust is also started. We want to get the exhaust and headers wrapped up before the floor's done. See over here, Dewey's working on the headers on this side. This side's actually almost done. And we got Miles over there working on the Ram assist mount for the swing set steering. And then we got our mid plate in there. So that's our mid plate. And then we got the bungs through the center of the tubes here. And this is our trans plate also. So trans plate, mid plate, and then ID Design's front plate. Chase also started this front panel, so it's like the rest of the trucks. Big access panel to get to the back of the motor there. What's up, Chase? What are you working on?
I polished the tube.
Yeah, so this last batch of chromoly we got was like in the Baltic Sea or something, and it was just really so pitted. Yeah, he's working on the tube that's going across here. So basically that tube will be there. The top of this tube will be flush with the top of this one, to establish a really flat floor in this thing. Good job, Chase.
Thank you.
All right, moving along to the front. So all the suspension pivots, everything's welded up. Evan finished that the other day. And then we also got the ID Design front plate in there with our billet mounts that tie into the rear J-arm pivot right here. So those bolt in and be able to easily take off that front plate. And then we gave it, we got just enough room for everything there. Put the AC pump in there, just to double check clearances. So we're good there. Pretty good progress on this thing. Pretty much just take everything we learn on every truck before it and just kind of adapt that into the next build. More on this one later. All right, over here on the Raptor, you see we got the fuel system all buttoned up. Got some nutserts in the frame, some Adels, some zip ties, and now I'm just going through all that stock wiring and kind of cleaning it up and eliminating and changing some things on it just to make it work for what we're doing. There's some grounds I'm gonna pull through and change and shorten. There's a bunch of other stuff in there that we don't need, like trailer plug stuff, so I'm gonna ditch all that. Yeah, so I gotta button up a few things under here, and then we're gonna put the bed back on, bolt the bed cage in, get the oil coolers, transmission coolers in, get those plumbed, and then we got the axle over here getting worked on. So super close to just button this phase of the buildup. All right, so here we got the rear end for the Raptor. See, we got our billet pivots all welded on. So these are 3/4 thick 4130. We machine them here. They got a bunch of pockets in them, take some weight out. Some pockets here for the bolt to sit in to protect the bolts. And then we got our upper pivots all welded. We got brake line tabs done. Got the big fill cap bung welded in. Got the vent welded in. All newer trucks got pretty much a brake line for each corner. So we have to run literally a line just for each side. So most of all the other trucks you see, we run a T and we split off one line to go to each rear caliper. So each rear caliper has its own line from the factory master. So we kept it like that because I think this thing needs bigger brakes for how fast it is. So we might just make our own caliper mounts and run like some 6-piston Willwoods or something instead of bolting on the factory brakes and stuff like that. So all the small things are done on this. We got the front notched out for the tube works billet third member. So they give you a template with the third member, and it shows you where you need to grind out, because that new billet third member is a little bit bigger on the casing, so you got to clearance some things. And then next up will be welding on those trusses that we showed you last time. Hopefully get all this wrapped up next few days, get this thing off to powder coat so we can get this truck on the ground. All right, over here on the D90, we got the mock-up drivetrain is pulled out. We got all the front suspension, bump stops, shock mounts, motor mounts, everything all double passed. So that's all done. We added this in here just because it's a lot of welding right here and we didn't want the shock towers to pull in. So we just tacked that on there to keep them spread apart. Firewall is done, so that just needs to be welded out. Oscar is double passing all the cage right now. We're just about to a point where we got to pull the cage out and get all the parts that we can't weld with it in the truck. We welded as much as we could with it in the truck to reduce the chance of warping or anything like that. Yeah, that thing's about ready to come out. I think he's actually taking the bolts out of it right now. Yeah, next step for that is weld it all outside the truck. Yeah, probably put it back in the truck for one more mock-up, and then that cage will be off the powder coat. All right, last week I said, ask us some questions in the comments, and we got a lot of good ones. One of my favorites right here. Would you rather fight one mat-sized duck or 100 duck-sized mats? I don't know. 100 duck-sized mats. That's a lot of mats. I think I would take on the mat-sized duck, because ducks don't chew, so they're just gonna nip at you. Ah, here we go. From Travis Cassidy. He asks, do you take penile measurements during job interviews? Question mark. Just wondering why the entire crew hung like elephants? Question mark. Except Matt, of course. He must just be really good at his job. You know, what's the deal? I don't know. Other than no, we don't do that. Somebody asked, where do you get your cardboard from? You can literally get it from anywhere. Look online for chipboard. That's usually what we use for templates. What happened with the blue ZR2? Well, the guy that owns it drives it every day. Something in Russian, I don't know. This guy, Ryan Larson, went to the doctor today with my wife, saw our son on the ultrasound. What could make this day any better? Oh yeah, Kibbetech update. Thank you, Ryan, and congratulations. All right, that's it. Shoot us some questions on this episode about some truck parts or some truck builds or something a little more than how long does it take to build or how much money, a lot and a lot. Yeah, ask away. Say it, Chase. Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. And comment, share. Tag me on Instagram.